Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Elligan. I'm a clinical psychologist in Chicago, Illinois, and this is Everyday Psychology. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about strategies for managing successful relationships. And this could be relationships with intimate others, such as boyfriend, girlfriend, marriages. This could be relationships with children. This could be relationships with friends. This could be relationships in the workplace. So once again, generalizability to lots of different areas that we have relationships, and what are some of the key components of maintaining and managing successful, harmonious relationships. One is, this is especially true with intimate relationships, especially people who are married, is to have a balanced life and not have too many expectations for your partner. Your partner can't fulfill all of the needs that you have in your life. And people, unfortunately, oftentimes think this, and this experience is very common for people, especially when they first start dating someone. They abandon all of their friends, and they spend all of their time with their partner, and their partner can't meet all of their expectations. Partner can meet many of them, and should, but you still have to have a balanced life. So that means you should still have friendships, you should still have relationships with coworkers and colleagues, and with other people in general. So you want to have a balanced life in managing relationships. Another thing that's important in relationships, once again, especially in intimate relationships, is admiration for your partner. It's important to admire your partner and focus on the good and the strengths of your partner, as opposed to focusing on some of the areas that may be a little bit more challenging for them. All of us have weaknesses, but in healthy, strong relationships, the partner oftentimes recognizes the good and the strengths in their partner more than they focus on some of the negative aspects of who they are as an individual and things that they may have to work on. Another important thing in healthy relationships is that people who are in successful, healthy relationships oftentimes rely on one another. So if you're in a relationship, you should be able to turn to your partner for some assistance and rely on them and have confidence that they have your back, or that they're going to be conscientious and fulfill whatever it is that you need. Or tell you that they can't do that, but there may be other people who can do that. They may not have the expertise to satisfy everything that you need, but you want to rely on partners. So that's one piece. Another piece is you want to be somewhat compliant and have a bit of conformity in a relationship. So what we mean by that is you want to allow your partner to have an influence, hopefully a positive influence on you and your way of interacting and navigating through life. So you don't want to just stonewall your partner and say, well, they do that, but I would never do that. Because it's good to, in a relationship, to grow together. So there's going to be give and take, and the relationship is going to eventually become somewhat interdependent. With respect to communication and listening, it's important, and many successful relationships have what I refer to as responsive listening as opposed to reflective listening. So many books on psychology will suggest that what's important is to reflect back to your partner what they said, especially during conflicts, so that your partner recognizes that you're listening to them and you hear what they're saying. I think that's important. However, it's also important to take it a step further and really incorporate some of the things that they're saying and respond to them. Okay? So if your partner is saying that, I would like for you to tell me that you love me more often, in addition to reflecting that, saying, you want me to say I love you more often, also be responsive. So start incorporating that into your daily behavior. So in the morning, possibly tell your partner, I love you. So it's more than just reflecting it, it's actually doing it. So it's making it a verb or an action. Another key component of healthy relationships is conflict management. Our relationships that are successful, the people have identified and developed strategies that allow them to resolve conflict relatively harmoniously. All relationships are going to have conflict. People come from different walks of lives, people have different backgrounds, people have different values, and you're trying to merge those in a relationship, and there's always going to be a bit of conflict or give and take, because no two people come from the same background. But how you manage that conflict can really be a critical component to, is this going to be a successful relationship or not? And that's really a strategy that each relationship has to come up with themselves, how they resolve conflict. It's good to have those discussions when things are going well as opposed to when you're actually in conflict. Another strategy that's very helpful is, in conflict, you want to be solution focused. So you want to focus resolving the conflict by focusing on how can we solve this problem so that we can move on. It can be water under the bridge as opposed to continually reappearing and remanifesting, because when people aren't responsive, and that gets back to the responsive listening, when you don't have responsive listening, the same problems continue to reappear, and over time that really degrades the relationship, and it makes people feel that you aren't listening to them and you don't respect some of the needs not the needs, but some of the things they need in a relationship. And then, another key component is respect, and avoiding disrespect in a relationship. And what is disrespect? What is respect? Once again, has to be defined by each individual in the relationship. What's respect for one person is not respect for another person. So you don't want to assume that you know what it means to be respectful. You have to actually ask your partner, what are some disrespectful or respectful things for them, and be responsive to that. And then the other thing I think that's very key and very important in maintaining healthy relationships is role definition. Many people enter relationships and assume they know the role that they should fulfill in that relationship. But that needs to be an active dialogue and discussion, so people can identify and both people are on the same page with what each individual's roles and expectations are, as opposed to just assuming that you know what those roles are. So in review, successful relationships oftentimes include maintaining a balanced life, having admiration for your partner, relying on one another, having a bit of conformity or compliance, learning from your partner, and integrating some of the issues that they often do in their life into your life. So that might be sharing a hobby or something like that. Having responsive and reflective listening, but not just reflective listening. You want to be responsive. Good conflict management strategies that focus on solving problems and being solution-oriented, and maintaining respect. So those are some of the key components that could contribute to healthy relationships. So I'm Dr. Elligan. This is Everyday Psychology, and today we were talking about strategies for maintaining healthy relationships.